nation. Now, do you think pageants are relevant? Do you think they're really relevant? And is there anything you can really get of value from a pageant that will last you a lifetime? Like you said earlier, the sorority thing with the girls is something that they keep forever. Like, let's say Miss Florida. You know, the girls have kept that pageant alive in Florida for many decades. And yet they have a sorority of sisters there that try to keep the pageantry and the drag or female impersonation alive in Florida. Do you think pageants are relevant? And do you think it's relevant enough today for you to make a living?
Honestly, I do because I'm not sure if you know this guy, Trent. I think it's very relevant because it has allowed people who have certain talent to go on and be bigger outside of pageantry. Because right now he's doing makeup for celebrities like Yolanda Adams
Mm-hmm.
and several other people. So I think it's really relevant. But again, it goes back to the business side of it. You have to be business oriented to know how to conduct business. Because if it's something that you're good at, you're going to try to push it to make yourself bigger and better. So, like for me, I tell people all the time when it comes to shows, particularly performing and just entertaining, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not so much that girl. I love the shows and I love other people entertain, but that was never my thing. I've always been like the person that wanted to be into public speaking because I feel that's where I'm most valuable when it comes to the fact that I can speak very well. So I think for me, it's open opportunities for me. And it goes to anything in life. You have to find what your strengths and your weaknesses are. And sometimes a lot of people have a lot of strengths, but they're so fearful to use them. And I think that's really unfortunate because they do miss out on a lot of opportunities. Like right now, I'm in negotiations. Um, I won't say the celebrity's name, but I'm in negotiations with doing something with this specific person and working on a project. But that's because
Mm-hmm.
I've allowed myself to connect with certain people. And that's something that you just have to do. You know, you just have to keep yourself out there and push yourself forward, and opportunities will come.
That's wonderful. Now, I want to ask just a couple of questions. I know that there are two different pageants that you've won, Miss
Right.
Heavenly and Miss Westland. Why did you pick those particular pageants to enter?
Okay. Well, Miss Heavenly is a Louisiana-based pageant, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been friends with the owner, who is Opal Vanderhurst. She had this pageant for so many years, and at first she didn't actually have a regular division. It was always like the plus division for of course, the heavier girls, should I say, or the
Okay.
girls that weighed a certain amount of weight. Uh,
Okay.
and she always said that she was going to bring a regular division. So when they did it, of course, it was only natural for me to do it because I knew her history and I knew how she was as a person for the community. So that's why I did that one. Now, it's really funny how I came about to do Miss Western Classic. Actually, for many years, I was always supposed to do the regular Miss West. But it never worked out. That's just how life is. You know, every time it came around that year, either I had to do something for my job, different things happened. So when the classic division came out, and it was like, oh, you only have to be like 40 years. I think it's 42. Is it 40? I want to say 40, 41. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, think about it. The average person
Mm-hmm.
that thinks classic, the first thing most people think is, oh God, they're old. I'm not gonna do the old girl pageant. I'm gonna look like I'm antique or something. So I was like, you know what? There goes another stigma and stereotype in our community. Just because something is being called classic, it doesn't mean you have to look old or you have to have gray hair. It just means you're of a refinement. And so I wanted to break the stereotype that just because you've reached a certain age doesn't mean that you can't do a pageant that gives another opportunity. First, Aja started it when she went and won Miss Continental Elite. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's a great platform because many people don't even make it to see the age that we are at this day in life. So
That's
why not
true.
encourage those girls that here's another opportunity that can push them out there and bring some awareness to people who may not have felt they had a chance to win.
Mm-hmm. How did you feel when you won Miss Westland? I did a little bit of homework. For me, I really want to know, how did you feel when you won? How did it feel the night of, and how are you feeling now about the reign and the title? And how are you feeling about this? How did you feel when you won?
Well, the night that I won, it was very hectic, I must say. It was two contestants, of course, me and Alexis Principal. She's amazing. I love her to death. It was a
Mm-hmm.
really good competition, but for some reason, this particular night, I had like issues going on. Like I've never been nervous in a pageant, like not like I was that night. It was like I had so many little things that was going wrong. It was like, oh my God, I've never experienced it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I thank God that I'm able to maneuver in different ways. And thank God, like, I like to do pageants. Like I said, speaking is one of my strongest suits. I'm never afraid to
Okay.
speak in front of anyone. So thank God that I'm really a good speaker, because I had flaws that night. And it was like, interview was, thank God I excelled in interview, because that was the first category. So I kind of pushed myself a little bit ahead in that, if that makes sense. But I had a
Mm-hmm.
couple of little issues. And of course, you never know how a pageant is going to fall. So when we got to the end and they were calling the categories, of course, I was like, okay, here we go. And of course, that's that moment where your legs start shaking and you're like, oh my God. So luckily, God blessed me to win. And at that moment, I could breathe a little bit. Now, as far as the rain, I must say, this rain has been amazing. The promoters are amazing. I've worked, in my 20 years, I've worked with a lot of people, and I'm just going to keep it real. Some good, some not so good. That's just
Mm-hmm.
anything in life. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
that's not reading
we
anybody,
know.
but that's just the God honest truth. Some are going to be good, some are not going to be good. And
Mm-hmm.
no matter how you are as a person, or how good you are as a person with your heart, or how you are internally, some people are just not going to be good people, period.
Mm-hmm. That's
But
true.
I must say, this rain has been amazing. I haven't had to ask for anything. And I'm the girl, I don't really ask for much anyway. I'm very simple. I mean, I guess I never let winning pageants, because I've won a lot of national pageants. I've been Miss Black
Mm-hmm.
America, I've been Miss Black Continental, I've been Miss Sweetheart, I've been Miss Everly, but I'm not one of those girls that allows, um, I guess, the crown to boost my ego. I'm still the same,
Mm-hmm.
because I realize at the end of the day, somebody's watching me. And once the title is over, it's not guaranteed that you're going to win anything else ever again. So I just always
Mm-hmm.
prided myself on being treated the way I treat people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Now,
So,
go ahead. I just want to say that, to be honest, I've watched you for years. And like
oh my,
I've watched a lot of the other ones for years. But the reason I reached out to you is because there was just something that told me I could connect with you. This is a good person. This person works hard. And there's just something that is special about you. And
you don't have me crying now.
Oh, I'm sorry. For some reason, I connect to people that work hard and that are determined to make a difference. Now, do you think that the community that you live in is thriving from the fact that drag has become mainstream now, or do you still think that people are stuck back in time in, like you say, small towns and places, but now we're mainstream on TV, we're all over the internet? What do you think?
I think some people are still actually stuck, because I know people
Mhm.
that live here and they win like the state pageant, and they're like, I've won everything I wanted to win, but the world is
Mhm.
bigger than your home state. So yeah, some people are definitely stuck, and I just feel like a lot of times people don't give themselves the credit that they deserve. I mean, if I was the person that sat and listened to every time somebody told me that I wasn't going to be this, or I couldn't do this, or couldn't, I would probably be one of those people.
Oh,
Unfortunately, for me, I've always been the type of person, if somebody tells me that I can't do something, that makes me push that much harder to show you that I can. And I think that's what has pushed me so far, because I've overcome a lot of odds. And being that
mhm.
I'm not one of the girls that's like, and I hate to say it because there are some cliques in pageantry. Let's just keep it there,
Mhm.
keep it real. You know,
Okay.
I'm not the girl that's going to be in the clique. So I had to really kick a lot of doors down. I had to really fight really hard. And of course, you know, there were like a lot of doors that probably was closed in my face. But if you keep going, you can only knock me down so many times until you be like,
That's
you know
right.
what? This girl here ain't taking no for an answer. So we're going to go ahead and let her on in, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
That's right.
So,
Miss
I mean, you
Buckland?
know, you just have to push your way through life, and that's with anything. You know, sometimes people are not going to understand what you're trying to accomplish, but at the end of the day, you have to set your goals for yourself and not for what someone else thinks. And as long as you're doing what you feel like you want to do or what you love, that's all that matters. I recently did a pageant, Miss Continental. That was in 20. The last time I competed was I think it was 2018, the year that who won that year? Who won the last time I did it? I have a little help in the room. That's my
Okay.
boyfriend. He's over there. I'm trying to ask him. So the year that I did it, the last time was 2018. I forget who won. And I've always been the type of girl, if anybody has followed my career,
Tell me what
I've
gown you
always,
wore for evening gown, and I'll tell you who won. Tell me
okay,
what gown you wore for evening gown.
the gown that I wore that year, preliminary night, it was like, it had the feathers at the bottom, but I'm trying to remember who won. I forgot.
Brooklyn? Was it Brooklyn Heights?
I don't think it was Brooklyn. That was the year before. Who won? Stasha?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Stasha won that year. Stasha won. So that was a year for me that I would say was very difficult because for the first time, it's like, honestly, for all the years I've competed in pageants, it's always been me and my boyfriend. And he makes a
Mm-hmm.
lot of my stuff. He makes a lot of my jewelry. We do everything pretty much together. And so
Okay.
it kind of goes to show how if you fall out of the mind space of knowing who you are and you allow other people to come in and tell you who they want you to be, you'll fail. So this
Mm-hmm.
particular year, I changed everything I did. I was always the different girl. I had different earrings. I always created my own stuff. I just had a different style. And this
Mm-hmm.
particular year, I tried to listen to what everybody said. And it was like, well, you should try this and try that. Did that, flop. So that was a learning point for me that you can be who you are and accomplish what you want. You should never deter from who you are because of what somebody else wants you to be, because that's failure. It's a disaster.
Well, you know, I talk to a regular Miss Continental all the time. I don't want to mention who she is, but
Mm-hmm.
she, like you said, you mentioned her earlier in your conversation. We talk all the time, and she explained to me for years she had been entering Continental and never winning. And she said she kept doing what they wanted her to do.
Yeah.
As soon as she did what she wanted to do, she won.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it goes to show you that if you have a strong mind and a strong will and a determination, and you're confident in what your package is, then you can win or you can go
Yeah.
forth. You just sometimes you can't let people deter you from your gut instinct. My
Yeah.
mother used to always tell me that I miss your mom. My mother used to always tell me that follow your gut instinct and
Yeah.
don't ever doubt it. Just follow it. If it tells you something, you stay on that. Now, I'm really glad I got to have this conversation with you, Miss Weston, Mercedes
Me
Black, somebody
too.
I've looked up to for a long time. You're a great inspiration to a lot of the divas out there. And, you know, a lot of times we don't know when people are watching us from a distance and learning and admire you. People, it's good that I got to actually talk to you because